In this chapter, we put the focus in right angle triangle, the angle, and also about the ratio of sides. So after lesson, you have known that when we are talking about right angle triangle, then the longest side, which is opposite 90 degree, which is called hypotenuse, I like to use HYP to represent it. And the next, normally we'll be reading one of the angle and mark it as theta, theta, so which is a Greek letter. And next to theta, then we have a side which is called next to it, called adjacent side. You can recall the reason called adjacent angles on straight line when you learn when you had in Form 1. Adjacent means next to. While opposite theta, so there's another side which I mark in green here, which is opposite to theta. So these are called hypotenuse, okay, which is called hypotenuse, opposite side, and adjacent side. So with these three sides, then we can write three different ratios, which is related to theta. One is called sine theta. So you remember the pronunciation sine. We have cosine theta, cosine, the pronunciation. And lastly, we have tangent theta. So tangent. So these words are hard to you because all of them are new to you. Anyway, each of them you want to relate it with theta as well as two of the sides. While sine theta, it will be equal to opposite side over hypotenuse. Cosine theta is adjacent side over hypotenuse. And tangent will be opposite side over adjacent side. You can listen some songs which is about sine theta, cosine theta, tangent theta, which helps you to remember ratio. The way we'll be doing like sine will be opposite over hypotenuse, and then so it's all SOH. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so I use CAH. Tangent is opposite over adjacent, so we have TOA. So there's a song in YouTube called Soca Toa, and you may listen to it to see whether it helps you to remember it. But by the way, you need to remember what is sine, opposite, sine, hypotenuse, cosine, adjacent side, hypotenuse, and tangent, opposite side, adjacent side. So after you briefly understand the meaning of sine, tangent, sine, cosine, tangent theta, then you can do the question quite quickly. The importance of the question would be, first of all, sine theta. You need to remember that it's opposite side over hypotenuse. So that's why you search for opposite side. Like take part B as example. Theta is here. Opposite to it is your y. Hypotenuse always facing 90 degree, which is the longest side. So it's y over z. And then similarly, let's go to like number 5. So it's asking about sine angle Q and sine angle R. So it's talking about different angle, but this time we don't use theta this time. Angle Q is here. Opposite to it is 21. Longest side hypotenuse. So that's all. So do remember to check in calculator whether there's any simplification on it. Okay, angle R is on the other side. Opposite to it is 20, hypotenuse 29. So this is called angle R, sine angle R. So in some situations, you may need to do the question together with Pythagoras theorem. For example, like number 7 is talking about sine angle B. Sine angle B opposite to it is AC. Hypotenuse is 6, but AC is missing. So that's why first of all you need AC squared plus 4 squared equals 6 squared by Pythagoras theorem first. And then so AC squared by calculator you've got is what's that? 20. So AC will be square root 20. You need not to simplify it at this stage. You just keep it for a short while first. While next sine angle B is equal to square root 20 over 6. So now you decide whether you simplify square root 20 to see it can maybe cancel with 6. Yes, this time. So square root 20, it changed to 4 times 5. Hopefully you still remember the little trick I shared to you in previous chapter. Square root 4 is 2. Square root 5 is square root 5. So that's why you can simplify as the other answer. So finally, you will see that the chapter will be concerned about whether you can judge the opposite side hypotenuse here, as well as do you know sometimes you need Pythagoras theorem to find the missing side. Next, we'll be talking about how we use calculator to do the question about number 8 and maybe number 9, number 10. So number 8 first. So there's a button called sine in your calculator. So let's find it first. Sine can be used very easily, like sine 64. We enter as sine function 64. Because that's the end, then you just enter exe. You can obtain the answer. So now let me check the results for you. So it is equal to, as required by the question, is 4 dp. So that's by 0.8988 this time. But for part C, because there are two expressions, then you need to use calculator very carefully. This time it should be sine 28. Remember to close the brackets because you need to add another expression. Then you enter next one, sine 32. And because that's the end, you need to close the brackets. And now I check the result together with you. Can you get the answer 0.9994 by yourselves? If you can, that's very nice. The other case will be we use the symbol called shift sine to find out the angle theta. So it's to find, very ugly words, let's wait, find theta, which is, if you want to find theta, then so it's like removing the sine. So that's the idea about shift sine. Then in calculator you use shift sine and then 0.5, and you can obtain the theta accordingly, which is 30 degrees. Now you may try 9b by yourselves. In some cases, it may be like number 10 and number 11, which you need to find theta in a harder way. But the first step for part B, I just write here, it will be, bear in mind that you need to leave sine theta alone. So that's why you write as 6/19. Then you shift sine on this number and you get the result. Well, for part 11ABC, so maybe I just pick 11B as example. Now you will see that sine theta is alone already, so as 11A and 11C. So now what you need to do will be, you need to calculate this result first. So that's why 11B I will start from sine theta equal to, by calculator you check out the result first, is, so what's that? Is equal to 0.4716, but because it's not the end of the answer, I prefer you to write about like 6 significant figures. And then afterward, you use shift sine of the number and see whether you get the answer called, can you get it? 28.1 degree, which is called correct to 3 sig figs. So A and B, you do the similar thing. Use calculator to find out the expression first, then shift sine, and you can obtain the results. So next we come to some practical problems, which you want to find the unknown in another way, like number 13. Number 13, you will see that you are asking to find y, which is, you will see is hypotenuse. So in this kind of question, you need to justify about the size first. Y is hypotenuse. How about 7.5? Yes, it's opposite side. So it's opposite hypotenuse, that means it's about sine theta. But this theta is not theta, but it's exactly 52 degrees. So that's why we can formulate formula here. 7.5 divided by y is sine 52. So that's why you need to, again, repeat the technique again. Check what kind of side is it. It's hypotenuse and opposite side. So that's why you can conclude that it's about sine theta. Next, this time the theta 52 is given. So that's why we write sine 52 directly. And finally, the last step will be write the formula according to the scenario, the situation. Okay, so the other part will be about solving equation. And so you see, you do remember that when you have an unknown in the denominator, I suggest you to multiply to the left-hand side first. Don't keep it in denominator. It's very easy to make mistake. So afterward, y will be 7.5 over sine 52. And this one you will see that you can directly use calculator to check it out. And as required by the question, it's called correct to 2 sig fig. And you'll find the result by yourselves. Finally, maybe I read number 15 to you. As you see, there are two right angle triangles standing together side by side next to each other. First of all, you want to find QS. QS, you can look at the one on the left hand side or the one on the right hand side. So now you have to judge to which side or which triangle shall we consider first. Personally, I will choose the one on the left because it's more informative. I have angle and 12 as well. So according to this, let's see, 41 degree, QS is opposite side, 12 is hypotenuse, so that's why it's about sine theta. So that's why we have sine 41 degree equal to opposite side, which is QS, not QP, divided by 12. And 12 is multiplied to the left hand side, and hopefully you can get QS quite quickly. So you bear in mind that because you still have part B, so that's why I suggest you to write a long answer first for this question, which is 7.877271, around like 6 numbers. And finally, draw the conclusion as required by the question correct to 3 sig fig, which is 7.87 cm. Correct to 3 sig fig as follows. Well, next you will see that you need to find theta. So that's why it's definitely asking you to consider the other angle, triangle. With theta, again, QS is opposite, while 18 is hypotenuse. So that's why we can set another formula according to it again, which is sine theta equal to QS, but I prefer to write a long one, divided by 18. And now you can use calculator to check it out the big fraction, shift sign, then see whether you obtain theta by yourselves. Now let's try to use the calculator together. As it's the end of the question, then you need not to write the long number this time, but write the answer directly as 3 sig fig. So then that is for our question.